building a website, it's not a one and done thing. It's like any marketing campaign. You just don't do it and then all of a sudden that's it. You're done for 10 years. It's like you build it today and 12 months time, you might go, you know what? I need to change that. You need to change what it says because I've learned so much about my business that I need to change it. And that's also where people get stuck. They think, oh, I'm just going to do it once. I need to get it right today. And we help them simplify their message and get it clear. But in a year's time, you might be like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want this thing over here. And it's a completely different message. So
10 years. I think most of them are in the 2-month range, especially when they're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelak. Thank you for listening to the show. I would love if you could give us your opinion on how you felt about the show, your experience that you have in regards to what we've been talking about. I am having an absolute blast, but your input is like dynamite on that explosion. So give us your input. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, concerns? Give us everything you got. We love it. Thanks. I hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelak, and I am super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Divian. Divian, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks, Michelle. Really excited to be on here.
So give everybody kind of a highlight of who you are and a quick introduction to your business. What do you do?
Sure. So I'm Divian. We run my business is called Headache Free Website. So my main focus is helping people who are entrepreneurs and coaches to turn their website into a client generating asset. Instead of having a website as an expense, something that you have because everybody has a website, instead of actually utilizing that to get more leads, get more sales, create more authority, build the know, like, and trust with their audience. And that's kind of in a nutshell what I do.
I love it. So how did you get into websites as a thing?
Great question. Actually, my business used to be called Headache Free Automations. I know you guys do a lot of that kind of stuff.
That became a headache for you, so you got smart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So I actually built my first website when I was 13 years old. I learned how to code. That was 22 years ago. I learned how to code and built my own website. And me and my friends used to play this online text-based role-play game. So it's like you're a guy, you go out and you get like a sword and a shield and then some coins and all that kind of stuff. And you level up and in battles and join a clan. All that. And let's say, at 13, 14, you get a little bit addicted playing these games and then it shut down. And one of my friends managed to get the source code from the owner. And so we set up version 2 of it and I became head coder. So I taught myself all the cool stuff, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, MySQL, PHP, all that kind of stuff, self-taught at 14.
Wow.
And that was fun until I spent 6 hours one day looking for a semicolon, which meant the whole website wouldn't work in the code. On dial-up
it's
internet.
all fun and games until you can't see a space that's hiding from you.
So yeah, that was originally why I loved website and technology. And then when I started Headache Free, I've been building this kind of stuff for years. I had an expert business myself previously in the property industry. And then what I realized is that there's a big gap, right? And there's a lot of people out there who have these amazing, amazing gifts to share and value to add into the world and problems to solve. But one of their biggest problems is they don't know how to deal with the tech side of stuff, the website or the tech. And then in addition to that, some people just don't know how to do the messaging, for example, for their website, what to put on there, etc. And so I saw this gap and it's like, yeah, there's some people have these beautiful websites, but they don't convey the message properly. Some people have these awesome messages, but it's not very beautiful to look at.
That was such a diplomatic way of saying that, I must say.
And then you have these people who have neither of those, and it's just a big mess of a website. And you're like, yes, there's all these people talking about funnels and automations and stuff, which is, you need that stuff as well. But if your website, I see your website as like the foundational bit, like without that, I don't prescribe to this, just build a funnel and that's it, because every client's different, right? No lead is created equal. And so if you go down this route of just create a funnel, that means that my clients have to buy the $10 product, the $100 product, the $1,000 product, and then my $10,000 product, or whatever order in which your products are. And people don't buy like that. People buy what they're ready to buy. And so if you don't have a website, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're saying you have to go through this sequence to get to this end thing. And that's helpful to increase sales at a certain point. But if you're not at that point, a website's awesome, because you can showcase what you got. And you can say, here's a different range of things that I've got, or here's more information if you do it right. And so I saw that gap. I saw people don't know how to create their messaging clearly. And especially I find with messaging, people do this thing where they go, I do this for this set of people without this, and only if you're wearing one red sock or something like that. And you're like, where are you going to find that really specific person? It's like, and so I really help them just get clarity and speak in a language that is clear. Because I've found the clearer you are, the more likely people are going to go, hey, I want some help.
I love that. And I think people do get confused on the whole, who's your ideal client thing. And they'll go, oh, okay, well, I have to have somebody, therefore I'm going to pick these guys. And what I think the gurus are trying to do is to say, if you're in business long enough, eventually you start to learn that there's people that you love to work with and people that either don't like working with you or you don't like working with them, and that's okay. We just want to figure out who this hallway is, and who keeps walking down the hallway and who keeps trying to find an exit out of it. And it's when you start looking at ridiculousness of demographics in order to separate your audience, probably on the wrong track. And for our audience, because you made some awesome points and flew through them, that there are funnels and then there are these things that people consider websites. Now, the way we do ours is different in that everything is on the website. Not all of it is public facing, but there is software where you can never get into that funnel again if you haven't started from the right opt-in, if that's the right way to put it. And I think that it's important to understand that as a business owner, there are a multitude of ways of taking your ideal client down their ideal journey. And if you're stuck on one thing, you're limiting yourself, you're limiting your business. And the most profitable products and services are usually after your clients bought their initial program. But so who would you say is your ideal client? Who do you love to work with? And
yeah, so I love working with people who are coaches, experts, people who have a personal brand, because I probably a couple of years ago now had this realization. This is specifically how Headache Free Websites was born, or maybe it was automation at the time, whichever one. I realized that I'm supposed to be here. Like, I believe we all got a purpose, right? And our general purpose is to love other people, but then we all got a specific purpose within that. And I really see my specific purpose as enabling the people helping the helpers. So there's people out there helping other people in the world, and it's my duty to go and help them to help more people. I mean, I could go out and help other people directly, and I'm very good at doing that, but I just see there's more purpose for me in helping the helpers, because they're the ones who can have an even bigger impact than me just going out trying to help individuals. And so that's why, when I set this up, I'm going to be honest, I was kind of going, maybe I should be a coach, but there's something that just didn't quite, I love coaching people, but I just like, there's this huge gap where people like have these skills and these gifts, and they're just not sharing them because they don't know how, and they're not making enough money off that to actually help more people. And so that's kind of, shorten my answer. I help the helpers, people who are personal brands, people who are coaches, expert speakers, and people like that. And especially, I just want to add this little bit in, especially people who embrace or teach around emotional or spiritual things. So they don't have to teach it. They could be talking about money or property or whatever. I've got clients in property and teach about money and financial coaches, but they embrace this this love of people, this spiritual sense of being in the way that they teach, in the way that they show up. And instead of focusing on fear-based tactics, fake fear-based tactics, they focus on, well, how do I add so much value that people can't say no to me? And I love working with them kind of people.
Nice. I love that. Well, and it does make a huge difference in the way that they operate their entire businesses. So it does make it a lot more fun to work with that. I can totally see that. So what are some of the principles that you have when you're working with somebody? What does it look like working with you, and what kind of things are you putting in place when you're working with somebody?
Yeah, so the first step really in the process that we go through with pretty much everybody is what's kind of their business model strategy, because that informs everything else. Because people go, well, I just want my website redone, and I'm like, well, if we just redo your website, you're just going to have a nicer looking version of everything that's not working, and that's pointless. So I want to help you fix that process. So what's your business model? Where are you at? How are you trying to get clients now, and what's working? And then that goes into the strategy of how we build the website itself and the client journey, right? What journey do you want the client to take? Where are they coming from? Are they cold leads? Are they warm leads? Are they hot leads? And therefore, what action are they likely to take on the website? What action do you want them to take? Do you want to grow your list? Do you want more conversations? What do you want to do? And then from that, we then kind of work on the flow of the website and the messaging and stuff. And then we do all the build, the build stuff that nobody wants to touch, really, is we do all the techie bits and stuff. But the main, you asked that, your question was, what's the principles that we go by? That's a good question. Can you explain explain a little bit what you mean by principles?
Well, yeah, and you went over it without knowing that you went over it. So if somebody doesn't have a strategy in place, do you help them to build out their strategy? Is that kind of a package that you offer? Is that part of the services? How does that work?
Yeah, so we mainly work with people who are like I don't tend to work with people who are starting out from the very beginning. People are further down the line, where they're getting clients, but maybe they're getting clients and they want to get more clients, or some of our clients have hit multiple six figures and they kind of want to scale and they're maxed out, or some people maybe not quite got there and they're at a stage where they're getting clients, but they want to get more clients more regularly, and they're kind of building that momentum. So that's kind of the stage that they're at, and so then we help them define this strategy, because that's usually where they're stuck. They're not stuck on, I mean, of course, their website could be better and attract more clients, but they're stuck on, well, how do I take what I've got and share it more clearly with people so that more people are interested in what I have to offer, and getting them involved in their different programs. So yeah, I think that's where we start from.
I love that. So give us an example of a Cinderella story of one of your clients. So somebody that's gone from, they had it and it was tattered, and after you worked with them, they got this.
I've got to pick one now. That's a difficult one to pick.
Who's your favorite child? Let's go with that one. Who's your favorite one?
Yeah, I think my favorite, not favorite one, I'm not going to use the word favorite. I love all my clients equally. I think one that we massively helped was a client called Katie Benway. You can go to her website, katiebenway.com. And she was maxed out. So she was doing very well in what she's doing. She's a psychic, but everything is one-on-one. And so, I mean, she had a waiting list of, I believe, 5. If everybody signed up, she would have had enough clients for the next 5 years.
Wow.
So that's like massive waiting list. And she was stuck because it's like she couldn't physically do any more. Right. And so we came in and we kind of helped her create she already had some ideas of what she was doing. So created like some group programs. And the biggest way we helped her specifically, because she already kind of had an idea of the transition, was a lot of people in them circumstances, they understand their vision, but they can't figure out what that looks like in terms of how the technology works around it, and what emails they need to have, and what the emails need to say, and what needs to be said on each page and stuff. So she's like, and the biggest block is, and I remember an email from her that she said, I can share with people anyway, was she was struggling with, it's amazing because it doesn't matter how successful you get, you always have money mindset challenges. And she was struggling with raising her rates. And I'm like, you've got to raise your rates because how are you going to serve more people? You need more margin to be able to offer more good stuff and all that kind of stuff. And there was this one email that I sent to her whilst we were doing the website stuff. And her response was, I was gobsmacked through the first half and I was crying through the second half of your email because of how much you saw where I was at and how much you were able to help me just through an email to see how to move forward clearly. Nice. And so, yeah, and then she kind of raised the prices and changed. And this was actually towards the end of working with her on the website itself. But that was the clarity we were able to create is where are your blockages? Because the actual secret behind what we do is, although we deal with the tech, all that kind of stuff, I'm very good at holding an emotional space for people. And I don't advertise that, but that's probably the more of the secret sauce than anything else. Because when you feel comfortable, you share your ideas and share your understanding of what you do. And we're able to work through and get to what you actually do and who you actually serve and how actually to speak to them and all the little components and stuff. And you might be butting up against little bits, like, what do I write in this sales letter? And usually when someone has a product idea, especially if they're a spiritual, intuitive person who is a visionary and all that kind of stuff, I'm yet to see one of them people who doesn't know what to write in their own sales letter. What they need is a space where I can go, yeah, like what the ideas and and then they just say all the stuff. It comes out of their mouth, and all I do is help them say the stuff, and they've got their sales letter. They've got their sales letter. They've got their page. They've got their email, whatever it is. And Katie was like that. We just, jump on a call, and it just felt so easy. Like just jump on a call within 5 minutes. She's like, "Oh, I'm like really clear now. It's awesome." And yeah, so it was super fun to work with her, and she got great clarity, and she launched her group program successfully, and we completely changed her branding. She was running off her very first website, and we simplified things as well, because I'm sure you've experienced this, Michelle, is when you take over from somebody else's work, you find that a lot of people overcomplicate things, or they do things and you're like, why did you do it like that? It makes no sense whatsoever. And that's exactly, I can name multiple websites where that's the case. And so, yeah, I'd say she's very fun. I'm not going to say favorite because every client's my favorite.
That's a great Cinderella story. And I appreciate, one, that she had a waiting list and she still wanted to work on her website, which is, I think, a little kismet that she found you because you were the right one to work on in order to be able to get her the business structure that she also needed. And I find that's one of the reasons that I had to have you on the show, because I love that. And I think it's essential, because it drives me crazy when entrepreneurs are just going after tactics and they don't get the whole strategy and they don't get the whole system. And I think what they're really looking from you is kind of verification that what they're saying is right. Because there's so many times that people I'll just ask them, well, what do you want to say? Just give me an idea of what you want to say. And then they'll say it. And it's like, okay, well, we're just going to dictate that recording because that's perfect. Nothing else needs to be done. But I think they just don't have the confidence in themselves when they are right, and they don't know what they don't know. So it becomes, am I on the right track? Am I doing this?
Yeah, no, a lot of people, myself, I'm going to be honest, myself included, sometimes I'm just have this block and I know exactly what I need to write. I just need to talk it through with somebody and elicit it out. And you've got to get good, you got to get going to get good as well. So you got to just start, and over time you get better at. But you're right, especially in the personal brand arena of coaches and people like that, there's a lot of mixing up of value and your self-worth, like what value you provide as a coach, and your self-worth gets mashed together, and then you get even more brain freeze because you're like, but no one's buying and it's all about me and and it's not. It's usually just your messages, your message and strategy are not clear. And you also get people who sell programs. I go, this is that you've got to be on LinkedIn doing cold outreach, and that's the only way you're going to be successful. And it's like, no, like figure out who you are as a person and what you love to do, and then just do more of that. And then iron out the kinks, iron out the bits that don't work, test different things, and you'll get to a point where it works. There's no magic elixir of being on a particular platform or using a particular strategy. It's just that person there has just done it so many times, they've made it successful, and hopefully they enjoy doing it. But yeah,
and they have really good
awesome.
messaging.
Yeah,
they're in marketing. They have really good marketing.
But they've probably spent the last 10 years making that marketing outstandingly amazing. Exactly. And when they first started, they're probably in the same position. They didn't know frigging what to say to anybody. And so, they've become that ironed out marketing. And so when I help people, I help them just get really clear, and let's not make it complicated. Let's make it simple. And so people understand, and then you start getting the inquiries in, you can have conversations. And then when you start seeing them little things, you're talking about the corridor, the tunnel, and people exit and stuff. You will start to see patterns in people, right? You start to see these patterns of, this, when they do this, like I've got a client right now who I'm like, this person's borderline all right, like, but they're definitely not in my ideal client category. I've just taken them on because they're a referral. And I'm just like, I every time they say, let's have a conversation, sometimes I'm like, I just push back and I go, I'm not free for 2 weeks. Like, just pay the invoice and then we'll get going, whatever, So just, but it's that even when you do take on them non-ideal clients, it gives you information of what not to do next time and how to tweak what you're doing next time. You see little things. 10 years ago, I definitely wouldn't have seen that he was a non-ideal client. Now I kind of knew, but I was like, I just, I just take him on and see how it goes. And it's been okay. But yeah, so you got to kind of refine that messaging and then roll from there. And over time, you'll probably have to, and that's the big thing also as well. Building a website, it's not a one and done thing. It's like any marketing campaign. You just don't do it, and then all of a sudden that's it. You're done for 10 years. It's like you build it today, and 12 months time, you might go, you know what? I need to change that. You need to change what it says because I've learned so much about my business that I need to change it. And that's also where people get stuck. They think, I'm just going to do it once. I need to get it right today. And we help them simplify their message and get it clear. But in a year's time, you might be like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want this thing over here. And it's a completely different message.
So 10 years. I think most of them are in the 2-month range, especially when they're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. I think there's a huge fallacy out there of, it's built and done. I can't even get the expression in my head because it just doesn't make any sense to me, because there is this phase of business where you're just trying to figure out what works, and not only what works for the market, but what works for you. So you're putting things out there and you're going, okay, I did that and I didn't like the way it worked, so I'm going to change a bit of it. And I think we need to change the name, and I think we need to. And so even your landing page is now all of a sudden you got new dates, you've got new times, you've got a new title, you've got maybe new content, new way of writing, the benefits of it. And I think people don't realize that your website should be a living documentation of what's going on in your business, at least for the first 10 years. Yeah. And then maybe you can keep that one page kind of stagnant for, a year or two. But it's not usually like, unless that page is rocking and rolling and you don't want to touch it, then you're going to be doing work on your website continually. It's not just we rebuilt our site and now it's done. That's a very 80s mentality, and somehow it's still stuck around. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way anymore. Oh
yeah, 100%. It's not a one and done. It's like, if you put a post on LinkedIn and it didn't get traction, you're not going to go, that's it, I'm not using LinkedIn anymore. You're going to be like, okay, it didn't work, so we'll just try a different post. And that's like your website. The time span's a bit longer than, a social media platform, but you don't stress over a LinkedIn post not working. And you don't go, that's it, I'm only going to send this one message out and even if it doesn't work, you you just keep iterating. And yeah, people do get stuck on that though. People get stuck. They think it's got to be right and it's one and done. But yeah, we just help them create the clarity, because most of the time people are too complicated with what they're trying to say.
Yes.
And then when you get clear, you're like, oh, okay. Now you can easily have conversations at networking events, on podcasts, and yeah, that's why we call our website Headache-Free Website. It's very clear what we do. I even toyed with calling it other things like Polaris. That's it, just like the word Polaris. You know how some agencies have these. And then I just got to this point where I'm like, everything I'm coming up with doesn't say what I do. So what's the point? I just call it a Headache-Free Website and people know exactly what I do. And I've got honestly, I've had clients from just turning up at a networking event 3 times on Zoom, and I've never even spoken to this person. They booked in a call with me.
Nice.
And they become a client because it's very clear what I do. It's not complicated. It's the thing, when we make things complicated, people can't raise their hands and be like, I'm interested.
Exactly. This is definitely a case where more is less. I love that. So if people are complicating their messages, or whatever they're putting out there isn't getting the responses that they're looking for, if they feel super confused as to how to put the thing out there, is there anything else that somebody might be struggling with and they're going, oh my God, Divian, I need you so badly?
Yeah, I think a couple of other things. One, like, just stop trying to do it yourself. It just, especially if you're not a tech person, just like, seriously, like, just stop. Because a number of times people I had a client a few years back and they had been trying to make this thing work for like 4 months, right? 4 months. 4 months of wasted time, not selling, not getting clients because this thing wouldn't work. And when I looked at it, they were like, this is what I want to do. They wanted to do like a one-click upsell automation thing. And I looked at the software. I said, who recommended this software? And they were like, this person on this free group. I said, it doesn't even do what you want it to do. She's like, how do you know? I was like, just one look at it. I can spend 3 minutes and figure out it doesn't do what you want it to do. And you wasted 4 months, And that's the thing, is just, if you're not good at tech, find someone to do the tech. And look, you might come to us and you might be early in your journey and you can't afford what we charge, and that's fine. Go and find someone else. Just go and find someone to if we're the right people, come to us, or go to Michelle or whoever, right? Find someone to help you first. And then the other thing is, like, the quickest way to accelerate your success in business is to find people who know what they're doing and get them to do it for you, instead of trying to learn everything yourself. I learned this lesson the hard way. I spent 10 years buying course after course after course, trying to fill my head with knowledge. And, I learned tons of stuff. I'm a sponge when it comes to learning. But I can't do everything in my business. I don't physically have the hours I know how to do a lot of it now, but I don't have the hours in the day to do it. Like, I have a team. They do stuff for me. They're probably working right now as we're speaking, right? It's like,
they better be.
Yeah, they better. Like, you can't do everything yourself. So if you genuinely want to grow a business, especially if you want to grow a big business, you're going to need a team. And just hire the experts, because then it's done, and it's done properly. And that's the other thing, is do it properly. Don't hire people who just make it sound good. Hire people who know what they're doing, because it'll bite you in the bum later. When we build websites, and I bet you do this when you build automations and stuff in Infusionsoft and all that, because I used to build them kind of things. If you don't label things properly, and it sounds such a small thing, if you don't label things properly, if you don't do things in an efficient way, what happens is 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the line, you go, how does this thing work? Then you spend 3 hours trying to figure out how it works before you actually fix the problem. And it's such a waste of time. Or you lose data. That's the worst thing, is when you lose data and you're like, well, where's, I've seen people who have opt-ins on their website and they don't know where the information's gone. It's not gone on their email database. And you're like, how long's that been the case? I built the website 5 years ago. So how many opt-ins have you lost? I don't know.
All of them.
So it's like, I'd say hire the experts on what they do. So so that you can focus on what you're good at. Because here's the thing as well, is when you become good at sharing what you do, I'm not talking about sell, you don't need to sell. This is the thing that I teach people. The way I sell my products and services, I don't sell people, I don't push you into a corner. There's a process I've got, and most people, 90 odd percent of people who come to me say yes, because I lead them through a process that is non-salesy. It just shares the information. And if you get good at that, you'll find very quickly you'd much rather spend time doing that than doing the tech. Because you'll get so many more clients that will pay for the tech so much quicker than you trying to figure that out. So yeah, I'd say that there are probably a few things that you need to get right, and the client journey, like the follow-up client journey after they've been on your website, the opt-in. Like don't just get their email address and email them once every 3 months or something. It's just nowhere near enough. Like even if you only got 200 people on your database, email them once a week, and when they're ready, they'll go, yeah, I'm interested, please. There's tons of other stuff. Get your mobile website right, because 59% of people browse on mobile internationally. My client stats say 80 to 90% browse on mobile. So it's huge, and it's only going to get bigger. Create a mobile specific website. Don't just let the software do what it's doing. You check it, make sure it works properly on different devices. Have a website that's fast. I mean, Google released information on this. If your website takes more than 3 seconds to load on mobile, every additional 3 seconds you wait, going from 3 to 6 seconds, you lose like 70% of the people waiting for it to load. And that's something that can, if you know how, can be fixed. Yeah, but I'd say the messaging is probably the biggest thing, and then let the tech people do the tech stuff, and you get on with making sales.
Nice, love that. And our rule of thumb internally is if you spend more than 20 minutes on something, go ask somebody who knows. And so in your business, do not wait 4 months. 20 minutes. If you can't get the answer, call Divian. Oh, hey, how can you help me get this done?
100%. Yeah, that too many people spend. I say that to my team as well. If you can't find an answer in 20 minutes, don't spend 2 days on this. Complete waste of time. Like, go and ask somebody who knows. Go to the help desk of the software we're using. If we're using some software, ask me, ask somebody else in the team. There's a whole wealth of knowledge out there. Facebook groups are available, but ultimately go to the person within the team you've got who knows. If we can help, then we'd love to be able to help make that happen.
Love it. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey with you?
Yeah, so I've got a free lead magnet that they can download.
Yay, presents.
Sorry?
Presents. We love presents.
Presents. Yes, I've got presents. Bear with me just 1 second here while I load it up. It's called the 11 Strategies. So you can download. I've got a special link for you, Michelle.
Who?
Which
what?
We'll put in
Somebody in automation has an affiliate link for me. That's awesome.
So we'll
internal joke, people. It's okay.
So it's 11strategies.com/awareness, because your business is called awareness. So it's the 11 most effective strategies to capture more leads from your website in the next 60 days without spending more on traffic. So if you want to get more leads on your website, this is the download to get, and completely complimentary. So you get download for free. And if you want to connect with me, you can connect on Facebook and LinkedIn. I don't do Instas. I've got an Insta account. Don't even bother going there. It'll be 3 months before I see your message. But Facebook and LinkedIn are the best places. Or you can email me, Divian@headachefreewebsites.com. And I'd love to arrange a conversation if you want help with your website.
Love it. We will, of course, have all of Divian's links in the show notes, so you can just scroll down and click on those. That is awesome. I'm going to be the first one off of this podcast to go and download that. We'll have a string of other people. Absolutely. That kind of information, always download it, look at it, and see what you got going on. Awesome. Divian, I get to ask you at this point, what point in life did you know that you were a special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
What a great question. I was, I think I was 12 or 13 years old. So the little backstory is my parents joined a network marketing business called Amway. And my dad's a proper introvert, so I don't have a clue why he joined this network marketing business. My mom obviously convinced him. And he got into personal development, so Tony Robbins and people like that. So at the young age of 12, I used to listen to Tony Robbins whilst hoovering the house. And that got me thinking, well, if this guy says you can run a business, well, why can't you run a business? And then that was it. From then on, I was like, I'm going to run a business. And it was at the age of 14 or 15 that I first became an entrepreneur, and I joined a homeware catalog delivery company, commission only, in the summer holiday, because I realized that I probably could earn a lot more than my paper round, basically doing the same thing as a paper round. And I did. So for that 3 months of the summer holiday, I earned probably 10 times what I would do on my paper round. I still did my paper round as well on top of that. But
Nice.
yeah, that's when I was like, and then, when you get that evidence that this works, you're like, well, got to figure out how to do more of this. So yeah, it's probably at 12 or 13 when I got the crazy idea that being an entrepreneur would be a good idea.
That is awesome. What a great story. Divi, you have been awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
Just keep moving forwards. That's what I'd say is, maybe it's working right now, maybe it's not, maybe you're stuck, but the only way you'll fail is to stop moving forward. So just keep moving forward.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I know how valuable it is.
Thank you, Michelle. Really enjoyed being here.
Awesome. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention. You do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap. They offer full implementation as well, if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.